Hello everyone. You are listening to this audiobook on channel Voice of Purpose by NSS IT Bombay.
Sachin Tendulkar. There would be hardly anyone who doesn't know Sachin in this cricket-loving country, India. Sachin is known as the Master Blaster, the god of cricket in India and the rest of the world. So let's listen to the intriguing story of the man who changed cricket. He was born on 24th of April 1973 to a small Maharashtrian family in Dadar, Mumbai. 1984, Sachin's elder brother Ajit introduced cricket to him and took him to enroll at Ajmera Academy. Due to his inborn talent, he was selected for the school team and played for the Cricket Club of India. Sachin started his plethora of records in 1988 with the longest partnership with Vinod Kambli of 664 runs. In the same year, he scored a century in the every innings in Lord Harris Shield tournament. In the season 1987-1988, Sachin was selected for Bombay Ranchi team, though he never played a game in the season. A year later, Sachin was chosen by then Bombay captain to represent against Gujarat after watching him play Kapil Dev in the nets. He used this opportunity to the fullest extent, making 100 not out in that match, and also was the highest run scorer for Bombay in the same season. Soon, in the year 1989, Raj Singh Durangpur selected him for the Indian tour of Pakistan. He became the youngest player at 16 years 205 days to represent India in Tests and at 16 years 238 days to represent India in ODIs. However, his debut was not as great as he would have expected it to be, with him getting out for a zero in his first ever ODI. Sachin then travelled for England in 1990. On 14th August, he became second youngest cricketer to score a test century as he made 119 not out in the second test at Old Trafford in Manchester. Wisden described his innings as a disciplined display of immense maturity and also wrote, "He looked the embodiment of India's famous opener Gavaskar and indeed was wearing a pair of his pads, while he displayed a full repertoire of strokes in compiling his maiden test 100. Most remarkable were his offside shots from the back foot. Though only 5 feet 5 inches tall, he could still control without difficulty short deliveries from the English paceman." Tendulkar further enhanced his reputation as a future great during the 1991-92 tour of Australia held just before the 92 Cricket World Cup, which included an unbeaten 148 in the third test at Sydney, making him the youngest batsman to score a century in Australia. He then scored 114 on a fast bouncing pitch in the final test at Perth against a pace attack comprising Merv Higgs, Bruce Reid and Carrick McDermott. Hughes commented to Alan Border at that time that this little Pirks is going to get more runs than UAB. Tendulkar's performance through the years 1994 to 1999 coincided with his physical peak in his early 20s. He opened the batting at Auckland against New Zealand in 94, making 82 runs off 49 balls. He scored his first ODI century on 9th of September 1994 against Australia in Sri Lanka at Colombo. It took him 78 ODIs to score his first century. Tendulkar's rise continued when he was the leading run scorer at 1996 World Cup, scoring 2 centuries. This was the beginning of a period at the top of the batting world, culminating in the Australian Tour of India in early 1998, with Tendulkar scoring 3 consecutive centuries. Sachin Tendulkar continued performing well in Test cricket in 2001 and 2002, with some pivotal performances with both bat and ball. Tendulkar took 3 wickets on the final day of the famous Kolkata Test against Australia in 2001, including the key wickets of Matthew Hayden and Adam Gilchrist. They were the centurions in the previous test. His 3 wickets haul helped India win the match. In the 5-match ODI series that followed, he took his 100th wicket in ODIs, claiming the wicket of then Australian captain Steve Waugh in the final match at Baroda Stadium, Goa. In 2002 series in the West Indies, Tendulkar started well, scoring 79 in the first test. In the second test at Port of Spain, Sachin Tendulkar scored 117 in the first innings, bringing his 29th century in his 93rd Test match to equal Sir Donald Bradman's record of 29 Test hundreds. He was gifted a Ferrari 360 Modena by Fiat through Michael Schumacher for achieving this feat. Then, in hurry of unprecedented sequence, he scored 2 zeros, a 8, and another 0 in next 4 innings. He returned to form in the last test, scoring 48, 41 and 86. However, India lost the series. In this period, in the third test match against England in 2002, Sachin scored his 30th test century to surpass Bradman's haul in 99th test match. It is essential to mention that Don Bradman had once said that Sachin plays the straight drives better than him, which is the extravagant praise coming from the master of drives himself. Continuing his great show, Sachin played many career-defining knocks and led India to wins in many games, including India's World Cup campaign. On 24th of February 2010, Sachin added another record to his name by making a double century in ODIs, and thus he became the first person to have a double century in ODIs. From February to April, Bangladesh, India and Sri Lanka hosted a 2011 World Cup, amassing 482 runs at an average of 53.55, including 2 centuries. Tendulkar was India's leading run scorer for the tournament. Only Tilak Lagne Dilshan of Sri Lanka scored more runs in the 2011 tournament and was named in the ICC Team of the Tournament. India defeated Sri Lanka in the final. Shortly after the victory, Tendulkar commented that winning the World Cup is the proudest moment of my life. I couldn't control my tears of joy. Sachin continued making centuries and piled up 99 centuries across formats. Tendulkar scored his 100th international 100 on 16th of March 2012 at Mirpur against Bangladesh in the Asia Cup. He became the first person in the history to achieve this feat, which was also his first ODI 100 against Bangladesh. Following poor performance in the 2012 series against England, Tendulkar announced his retirement from one-day internationals on 23rd of December 2012, while noting that he will be available for Test cricket. In response to the news, former India captain Sourav Ganguly noted that Tendulkar could have played the upcoming series against Pakistan. At the same time, Anil Kumble said it would be tough to see an Indian ODI team list without Tendulkar's name in it, and Javagal Srinath mentioned that Tendulkar changed the way ODIs were played right from the time he opened in New Zealand in 1994. On 10th of October 2013, Tendulkar announced that he would retire from all forms of cricket after the 2 Test match series against the West Indies in November. At his request, the BCCI arranged that the 2 Test matches be played at Kolkata and Mumbai so that the farewell would happen at his home ground. He scored 74 runs in his last test innings against the West Indies, thus falling short by 79 runs to complete 16,000 runs in test cricket. To date, Sachin remains the only sportsperson to be awarded the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. Some of the quotes that tell us about the legacy of this great person are: during the Australian tour of India in 1998, Matthew Hayden said, "I have seen God. He bats at number 4 for India in Tests." Sachin's story is one of those which tells us what hard work, resilience can do. Thank you.
So hope you guys had fun. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel for more interesting audiobooks.